Many people know me as Big H.
Whoop,
I
whoop, whoop.
started my photography journey around the same time with Jojo, where we came in together from Abuja. I'm in portrait and fine art photography. Well, my journey is I studied international business in school and started working for my father. And I quit my 9 to 5 around 2016 to pursue photography full time. So it's been a journey. I started photography in 2011, shortly after my marriage. And it was a struggle doing my 9 to 5 and photography at the same time. But I think the thing with two different passions is that eventually, somehow, one where you are most passionate about would eventually give way. You understand? So that's exactly what happened to me. I remember 2016. I just said, you know what, I'm not going back to my 9 to 5. And it's a decision that I have not regretted for one day. So again, like everybody says, it's just a short introduction. Yes. How can I take questions from everyone?
Somebody up. You're an event planner and you're planning their event. They are looking at you. They are watching your demeanor. They're watching your confidence. They're watching your knowledge. They want to trust you, the person. You understand? So, part of the experience is to be in the presence of a certain aura. How do you feel being in the presence of this person? What does this person exude to you? And that is the beginning of the experience. The first thing that happens to me most times is a call. Ring. Hello. Good afternoon. Is this Kelechi Amajibi? Yes, speaking. Oh, my name is so so so. I would like to have a shoot. Now, that is the first point of contact. What you say from then on will set the that is the first impression that is going to happen. If I'm the one answering the phone, I have to answer it in a certain way. If I have somebody answering my phone for me, that person has to be trained to the teeth to be able to pick up that call because it's about communication. Verbal communication before visual communication. So that's the first experience. How does somebody get a hold of you? Do you have a website? How does somebody, what is the experience of that website? Do you have an Instagram account? What is the experience of that Instagram account? Is there somebody who spoke about you? What did they say about you to the third party that made them decide to pick up their phone and call? So that is even the first round of experience. When they now meet you, wow, now that is another thing altogether. What did you exude to them? How did you come across? You know, your environment, the way you speak. Do you understand them? For photography, I say this. If you're photographing a human being, you know, anybody who comes in front of your camera has submitted themselves to your judgment. It's as if you're in a court and you're like, my Lord, am I guilty or am I innocent? I don't know if you understand. And everything revolves around how, like, I'm shooting a board of directors. So I'm in a room full of alpha males. You understand? People who have no time to waste in the list wanting to be photographed. They're about to do battle, you know, in the boardroom. And here is this chap saying they should turn this way and turn that way. I don't know if you understand. You know, in that situation, you have to be in control of all these powerful people. How do you manage it? That's what he's talking about in terms of experience, you know, and that is what then differentiates you from the crowd, the sort of experience that you're given. It's the same thing. I go outside now, there will be somebody selling a bottle of Coke. I don't know if you understand, or I can, I don't know. It will probably be 200 naira or thereabout. But right here at this hotel, I tell them to serve me coke to open the 3,000 naira of food. You understand? Same coke, exactly the same product. We all know. But I will not even blink. After paying the 3,000, I'll still give the guy a tip of 1,000. I don't know if you get what I mean. Now, what is the difference? It's the ambience of the place. What is drinking coke here making it different from drinking coke across the road? Well, drinking coke here helps my status in society. It's giving me something else. I'm drinking coke in an upscale hotel with all this paraphernalia. So I belong to a certain class. So there is a bit of luxury in drinking that coke. Maybe they added frozen water into it. With a clink, a nice glass, right? Um, Drinking coke outside, I just want to drink coke. If it's not cold, well, I'll manage it like that. You get what I mean? Now, this is positioned as luxury because that is the experience. Now, the question is, are you that person selling coke from a cooler outside in the sun? Are you offering yourself as a luxury? So you have to define what that means for the kind of clientele you want to talk to. You understand? And it involves everything from your appearance to the way you talk, to how you present, to what you dress, to your perfume, to your car, to the decor in your studio. Everything has to speak in a certain way, the language of that particular person. And that's it. That for me is very crucial, you know. So for me, that's one of the most important things over the years that I had to think about. Each time I decided the type of clientele I want to work with, I have to find what their language is. Do I understand that language? Do I live that world? Do I speak that language?
Thank you. Thank you. You guys and interest went into to become a better photographer. You need to invest in gears. You need to invest in workshops. You need to invest even as an entrepreneur who is not a photographer. There's a lot of call for you to invest in that thing, that product that you're selling. Over the years, we've seen that has changed because you all talked about building experiences without necessarily talking about ISO, aperture, or shutter speed. So my question now is, what role does personal branding play in building a successful entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, a bit of advertising photography in my years, and I can see the amount of energy and you have to build a brand, you know. Um, Personal branding is about your story, you know. Who are you? How do you define Kelechi Amadiori? You understand? It's a bit abstract sometimes, but you know, again, we're talking about the experience. All of it comes into that. One of the first things I learned, it was in university when I started experimenting with entrepreneurship. And that was what gave me the guts to say I wanted to be an artist. I first worked on my skills. So first have a skill, have some value that you want to give. Okay, so I do not think personal branding will even come into contention if you don't have that skill. You know, so you never sort of finish mastering your skill. It's still work in progress, but you have to get it up to the stage where people who were used to just, you know, asking you to do things, then start begging you to collect money for it. You understand? You are doing it outside, but oh, this guy is really talented with traffic. You know, then after a while they start feeling guilty that no, I have to pay you for this. This is like Kelechi is talking now. We must pay. I don't know if you understand. Then that's what you know that okay, looks like what I have has value. You know, the first time I noticed that people wanted to pay me for what I would normally do because it gives me joy. When I got into university, somebody wanted a portrait made of his girlfriend. You know, Valentine's period is like on Christmas, you know. And I wanted me to do a portrait of his girlfriend, and I was so excited to do it. And he started asking me how much. Nobody had ever corrected money and paid me money to make a portrait. In secondary school, I used to pay my brothers and sisters and friends. And that was just my passion. I didn't know somebody would want to pay me. I was so excited that somebody wanted to pay me money. And I never forgot that first commission. I just told him some random amount that they had paid. And the next time I found myself in Lagos in one of those holidays and I had a cousin, she took me to her office and was introducing me as the artist, And one of them said, "Oh, I'd like to, when you can you do shadow paint, I was like, yeah, let me teach you how to do it. My cousin called me and said, "Are you stupid? The man wants to pay you." And I said, "That thing is not hard. I will teach you how to say, just give him a bill." So I said, these people in Lagos are crazy, they pay for anything. You don't put bulb, somebody will trace your leg and paint it black, that's all. Anyway, so, for me, what was the question again? Yeah, so for me, while I was in school, I realized that it was very simple. If I became so good that I was just 5% better than every other person on campus, then if I'm consistent with it, then I have trust. So the first personal branding was that you have the capacity to consistently deliver on your promise. So once I established that if you call this crazy artist, he will not just do what you said, he will surprise you with a little more. I don't know if you understand. Do that and form that reputation. That is the first personal branding for me, is that you can deliver value. Okay? Once I have been able to do that, the next thing was to then bottle that trust into a foreseeable kind of style. You understand? Is it the name? Is it the logo? Is it the appearance of the person? You understand? Then some way of defining that trust that you have built. So the first thing for me for personal branding is that you have to have a very serious product. The second thing is then you can then start to advertise it and package it, because that is what it's about. After a while, it then goes beyond the product. For me, after the years of doing this in the real world, it now goes beyond the product into the zone of, what we call brand equity, where you start monetizing the fact that it is Kelechi Amaju. So people are now calling me to pay me to associate with me. So that personal branding itself becomes another product on itself. So I'm shooting for a client and ad campaign, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, Kelechi, we want you to be our ambassador." I say, okay. So this is how much you pay me for shooting. This is how much you pay me for associating myself with your brand. Meanwhile, the brand that is talking to me is a 200-year-old brand that is something that even me myself, I'm like, okay, serious matter. You understand? So that for me is the value of that brand. So that trust in itself then starts to have a life of its own. It starts to represent something else, for society and for people. And that in itself becomes another product. It just morphs into a new product. So personal branding for me is so key and vital, but it cannot stand on quicksand. It stands on trust built over years. You understand? So a friend of mine of that said this, we were having a drink, and he said, "So what do you do?" We're talking about marketing. I say, "I'm an artist." It's a while. For an artist, you cannot separate the work of the artist from the artist.
Yeah.
So if you market the artist, you market the work. because you cannot separate the artist from his work. And that goes to the core of our creativity. Every time I keep telling people, you must ask that question. Who am I? Sounds simple, but I know a lot of 40, 50-year-olds who are still searching for that answer. You understand? It's a soul searching. There's a whole process of trying to find out who we are. Sometimes it's not something you discover. It is something you remember. Because you have always been you. But society bends you, beats you, knocks you into pretending to be somebody else. And you would have pretended for so long that you have forgotten self. So it is a remembrance. If you get what I mean. Yeah. Let me stop. After receiving this, there's a master class that's
Well, what was come before the so give us the grandmaster.
we received the grandmaster.
I was 30 years.
Be very careful. Okay, so the beauty about having conversations like this, and I don't know if you understand the value of this intimate conversation that we're having here today, because a lot of us, someone like me, did not have this opportunity to have conversations like this when I was building my photography brand. Social media wasn't so much of a big deal then, but I remember clearly when I wanted to pick up my camera for a living. By the way, everybody was against it, as I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria. I'm the first son in my family. So you can imagine when my dad was screaming that his first son wants to become a cameraman. But I knew deep down inside me that this was what I wanted to do, and if I was going to fail, that I was going to fail on my own terms. So I remember vividly when I wanted to choose my brand name for my photography. As a rookie, I had no idea what I was really doing, I learned photography, ISO, shutter speed, aperture, just from a course I did online with the York Institute of Photography, and then of course YouTube and watching people. And one of them, of course, on Kelechi. And even down to when I wanted to pick my photography name, the people that influenced my photography brand name, which is Okoro, of course, are the likes of Kelechi Amadiobi, Obi Soto, T.Y. Bello, Jide Alakija, and the list goes on. It was the name. I'm like, well, this, Okoro is a very typical Igbo name. And on a good day, Okoro will not fly. On a very good day, trust me. If I had gone to ask for what do you think about George Okoro, they would say, Okoro might not fly. But you see, the beauty of a name, in which respect, when it eventually flies, you find out that it is the substance behind it, what you've put in, the work that you've built, what people have. Perception is reality. So it is all that work that you've put in that now finally comes up with that result, that the name now makes sense. Anywhere you mention it, it just makes sense. In fact, there are people who cannot call me by my name. They must mention it's complete. It's not George. George doesn't exist. It's George Okoro. It's now one word. And going to what Harry was saying about personal branding, you cannot brand something that is completely, that is empty. When it's empty, that brand, when people say packaging, that's where that word packaging, came from. Packaging is supposed to be a very positive thing, because if you don't package it properly, it's not even going to, nobody will even approach it. So if you have the most beautiful product, but not branded properly, it will continue to suffer. And that is
one of the biggest challenges we have in the creative industry, especially as photographers, is we have beautiful talent, but poorly branded. Presentation is zero. You're coming in to have a meeting with executives. You show up and you show up like, like my dad said, cameraman. There's a big difference between cameraman. Even when you are being asked, so what do you do? You see, when Okoro was saying, he was asked, who are you? What do you do? And the way he introduced himself, I'm an artist. Some people cannot proudly say, in fact, when they are saying that I'm a photographer, you think they're already, the confidence is there. Because it's right inside is a bit empty, there's something missing. But when that confidence is there, you can stand boldly anywhere and talk about your brand, what you represent. And when given the opportunity, you prove yourself. And when you walk out of that room, everybody's like, I want to associate with this person. Thankfully in my career today, I have partnered with so many brands, not as a photographer, but as a brand ambassador, because they want to identify with this brand. They believe that if I identify with this brand, it adds value. If you're not bringing value to the table, people uplift what uplifts them. People want to associate with what brings value to them. So as a young, business person in this room today, that's what you should be thinking about whenever you're presented with the business opportunities. What value am I bringing to this table? Not how much am I collecting for them. Because the biggest mistake we make sometimes, especially when we're very young, is that we're chasing the money. But the money is supposed to be chasing you. You prepare the garden, the butterflies will come.
Wow.
So it's the value that you put in that personal branding that you're trying to build. What is inside it? What's inside that shell? Take time to build that. And of course, make sure that you now package it properly. On the name, your presentation, the way you speak, the way you appear, the way you smell, everything has to reflect what you're trying to sell. And the rest will just be history. It might not happen overnight, but you stay on course, you know where you're going, keep hitting the target. Trust me. In fact, there's a conversation I was having with Kelechi before this class started, and he said to me that it shocks him that in fact, that is so profound. It shocks him when he sees a young person saying that they're looking for a job. And he said that he's surprised, he's shocked. And I was looking at him like, that is true. From my experience in my, little 10 plus years in this industry, when I see people looking for a job, sometimes I'm genuinely concerned because there are jobs everywhere. There's a problem. He said, just solve problems.
Yeah.
There's a problem that you can solve for me in my business today. Like I'll pay you 1-2 million every month. But I can't even find who can solve that problem.
Yeah.
People are looking for people to solve problems. There are problems every day. And there's I see I get messages every day. People are looking for jobs. I'm like, no.
This what you're saying there. Somebody says they want a job. I say, so what can you offer for change? You say, I'll do anything. I say, Jesus. Anything. That means you can do nothing.
Trust me.
That means you have no focus.
Every successful business that you see today, that they have one pain point. If you can solve that problem, because trust me, solving that problem helps improve them, helps them to scale, helps them to generate more revenue. You collect the chunk of that revenue. Easy peasy. Anyway, let's not do it on.
In fact, I read this book called Wisdom. Interesting. Photographer's book. I don't see a book like that. I have it. I'll send you tonight. He's a photographer. You know what he did? He did portraits of octogenarians, not ordinary ones. Superhuman beings, people with plenty who have distinguished themselves. Inside that book, we had Clint Eastwood, we had Judy Dench, we had Chinua Achebe, and Wole Soyinka. To mention but a few, but just asking people all these questions. And one of the artists said, you know, that an artist is not really there to solve problems, but that the artist is there to create problems and then solve them, so that he will be the only one with the solution to the problem he has created. So you cannot even say, oh, let us find the problem that people want to solve. That is for the industrialists. The creative creates the problem
So you can solve it.
and then finds a solution to it. So before people even start looking for the problem, somebody has gone to design the iPad. And I remember when Steve Jobs was asked, what is the iPad? He said, well, the iPad is whatever anybody who is holding it wants it to be. I heard that definition. I said, Jesus, so what is this thing? So I brought it. I went to the shop and I said, is there a drawing app on this thing? They said, yes. I went to a drawing app. It has a pen, pencil. I said, the iPad is my sketchpad. And that is what it became. Now, I didn't know I had that problem. But the man has anticipated my problem before I had it and provided a solution. And he became the only solution to that problem. You understand? So for personal branding, for an artist, it's a big word. For businesses, they say find what people need, create it, market it, and then sell it. But for an artist, they say find what you believe in. Find what makes your heart beat. Find who you are and what you want to tell the world. And present it with gravitas. And then the world will come. Then your work becomes original. And then there cannot be any competition. Because it's only you. The way you want to express that particular thing. You know? So I just wanted to chip that in for the creative. It's a little more personal, it's a little deeper. It's a lot of soul searching. Because we live in a world that is crowded with so many people trying to do the same thing. Everybody copying everybody. You must find a way to stand out in order to survive. Otherwise, they will trample you in the bucket of crabs. Anyway, just to put that in.
Getting to what King John said, I remember that when I started photography, I'm also a first chef in an eco parlor. So you also know how that is for us in terms of the expectation that they have. So you can imagine how my parents felt. When my dad was late at the time that I started photography, I don't know whether this is a good thing because he would never have allowed it.
We share the same.
Oh yeah, he would never, Ochi's son, never. So when people would go to my mom around it, okay, fantastic. People go to my mom and say that, oh, we saw your son lying down on the floor taking pictures. Or the one man, is everything okay? You understand? Is there no food in the house? Has the business failed? And all of that. And my mom will walk up to me and say, do you really have to do this thing? Can't somebody else do it for you? It's called personal branding worry. And I would listen to her and ignore her. The moment I'm sitting with her and acting like I'm listening, the moment I leave, I just completely ignore her. And then there's a story I shared in Follow the Light class. And this one that resonates very well with me. My mom took over my father's business. I left. And she's now at a business meeting of the top person at PATM. And they finished the meeting. This person is now walking her out to the car and accompanied by his wife. And then the wife just starts to have a conversation. And she said, oh, Lady Joe, I think it's Mike. Sorry. Lady Joe, I've been looking for this photographer. You know, I've tried everything to reach him. You know, each time I call, they say he's at a shoot, his PA will pick up the phone, you know, and they say that this is the person that you should meet. if you need this type of work, yeah. Do you know how I can, do you know any photographer that I can reach out to? Or do you know how I can reach out to him? And my mom goes, what's his name? And they says, hey, his name is Big H. And then my mom goes, Big H, my son. Big H. Now, before that experience, she always would say, do you really need to do this by yourself? After that experience, she's like, I'll call you for you. So she called me immediately and said, you wouldn't believe what just happened. So she now created a name. She said, Obongo Mama Big H. Meaning I am the one that they call Mama Big H. So I feel like with personal branding and even just sticking to whatever it is that you're doing, stay on it long enough until you start to bring over people that doubt you. You understand? I have just one more question, and that's because part of what we're supposed to discuss on this global relevance for an entrepreneur here who is looking at scaling up. What are some of the two things also that are very, very important that we should do in this time, especially with the invention of AI and so many things, social media that has also maybe changed the way we run business? I want to grow my brand, yes, but I also want to take it to the point where I am recognized beyond the spaces of Nigeria. So what are some of the things that we can look at real quick, because we just have to scale up? This is the only good one. The battery is down.
Global relevance. Immediately they got the World Wide Web connected. We all became global people. And before that, you see, I've been like this for a long time. We used to have what they call Nigerian quality. People are young, so Nigeria used to be like that. Say, this is Nigerian quality. Oh, this one is foreign. Do you understand? And I used to tell my colleagues then, say, there is nothing like that. We are all sharing the same atmosphere with the people in New York. There's no difference. And if you think you can be doing all this, like right work here, our Nigerian phonetics brothers will come here and they'll take your job. And it happened during Operation Regime. A lot of returnees came with serious phonetics. You understand? So, oh yeah, you need to okay, yeah. And they took people's jobs.
Why is it that some names are coming to my
So there is only one quality, and that is global quality. And we are the others. We're in the global south.
Wow.
Okay, we are the other. We are the ones that are underestimated. We're the ones that are not well packaged. We're the savages that Mongobat came to see and decided that it is him that discovered River Niger. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
Not only did he tell such a fallacy, they proceeded to teach it to our children. Evil. Now, in terms of global relevance, we are in the most endowed continent. We have the source code of humanity. Humanity started here. We're not diluted. So we're powerful beyond measure. If you understand that, then you will understand that whatever you do has to be among the best in the world. There's no such thing as Nigerian quality. And once your work is that good, what I'm looking for, what I'm praying for, is for us to create a critical mass of consistent excellence. Then people then start to. It's happening with the fashion industry. It's happening with the music industry. People then say, if you want excellent photography, go to Nigeria. You will find that. I've done quite a few where people are paying me to go and do a shoot. I have brands that come to Nigeria every year to shoot their campaign from outside the country. And for me, it is inevitable. We must stay in that space of global excellence. And you meet up to whatever you expect in life. It is the vision. It is the whatever standard you set for yourself that you will meet up to. And because of technology, You no longer have that disadvantage. What I mean is there is no disadvantage. Adobe Photoshop just started the other day. AI is together with all of us here. Nobody will say, I'm a professor of AI. I've been prompting for 20 years. Where did it get out? You know, it is there. So if you apply yourself, you'll be as good, if not better, than the guy in Japan, the guy in New York, the guy in Paris. So there is no longer any limit. Even to make things better for us, we have more great here. Labor they take light and all this. Makes us hungry. So we should be better. Yeah, network frustrating. You understand? So in terms of the globalization of things, I think we are there already. We just need to be deliberate with it, consolidate on it, and then project deliberately the way our people should see. We need to evacuate we need to destroy and eradicate the suffocating pessimism. And let the people understand that they are sitting on gold, oil, cocoa, whatever. It's something that we must do, you know.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if you want me to answer or we should give them something to answer.
Can I take one question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true because
We learn from failure. And our goal should be to aim high so that when we fail, we learn how to get up and keep moving towards where we want to get. Bad reviews, look, how you make money as a creative, I tell you, this thing is very fragile, building a reputation. But how you make money is to build trust. If somebody is giving you money, especially for assignment photography, and they're saying that you are creative, it's a trap. Oh, Kelechi is Kelechi now. He's the king of light now. Kelechi, just do it the way you want. I say, wait, relax. And so, what exactly are you looking for? I don't know. You people are creative. Okay, let me help you. Look at these 5 pictures. Which one, since you're verbally illiterate, can you be visually illiterate? Which one is a bit like what you're looking for? Oh, is this one? Oh, so you're looking for high fashion, high contrast, avant-garde with a touch of the oriental. That's what you're looking for. You need to understand what the person wants first before you accept that commission. There are clients who won't tell you what they want, and then they say you have failed to meet their expectation. So if perchance you did not do that due diligence of finding out exactly what you wanted, you accept the responsibility of not finding it out and then starting your job hoping that they will like whatever you give them. So if they say it's bad, then it's bad. You lose the money, then you now do the due diligence of, okay, sorry, what is it that you actually wanted? I don't know if you get what I mean. Now sometimes clients can give you creative license a lot. I've worked for a client, huge client. It's like, Kelechi, we can't tell you what to do. Tell us what you want to do, and we will pay for it. I'm like, wow, this is a big client. So I told them what I was going to do. They said, we like it. I did it, they paid for it. It was beautiful. Next year they came back. Said, Kelechi, just tell us what you want to do. Do you understand? Somewhere along the line, we were not able to send the final sketches of the designers, what the designers will produce for them before going into the shoot, because time was short. So we did this whole shoot, and they looked at it and said, the photography is perfect, but the fashion is not at the same level as the one you did last year. I looked at it and said, you're absolutely right. You understand? And I said, you know what? I'm going to commission another set of designers, and I'll do the shoot again at no cost to you. Yeah, it's like incredible. They come to my studio, the money you've paid is like money in a bank. You must collect interest. You understand? So what I'm paying for is trust. See, that client will give me that money times 3. He has already commissioned for next year's one. That bad review is inevitable. But what happens is, how do you react to it? Do you take stock of your mistakes and take it as an opportunity to make greater work? Or are you going to start whining about how terrible the client is? I don't know if you get what I mean. So look at everything. Bad things will happen to you. Later some people say, oh God, why me? Why not you? You understand? Anyway, so like what he said, if you find clients like that, cherish them. They're the ones that will make you grow. Do you understand? Like difficult clients, listen to them. The ones that are very meticulous. Do you understand? They will help you find out where there are little flaws. In my early days, when my studio was in my sitting room, you know, I used to make really great work, but my sitting room was too small. There was not even any changing room. So when one came there, I was like, this is nonsense. Is this what you call professional? I want to go and think about it. The next month, I moved out of my sitting room. I got into comfortable in that space. And he had told me, this is my profession. You understand? Instead of me to say, oh, what a rude woman, I say, but she's telling the truth. I should invest in getting a bigger place. It's part of how you speak to your clients. You understand? So, if that woman didn't say that, I probably would have spent another 6 months in that place. You know? Anyway.
Of younger creatives that are quite depressed, you know, with so many things, you know, that whole, okay, this person is better than me, this one, you know, it's just like, there's just so much going on in the minds of people. How are you dealing with that? Or how do you know, what would you say, you know, with regard to that? Yeah.
The behind the scene then becomes more captivating than the photograph because that is the process to which you come to that place. I used to look at big head solution and like, damn, what is that? Then I see the behind the scenes, say, Jesus, he printed the whole background. It was not well.
But I'm good.
It's true. Looking at that, I'm looking at the process. Gives the final work more respect. You understand? Then you start to see the mind of the artist. And that is what sets them apart. You cannot take that away. No AI can take that away. You understand? If you put a set of prompts, and anybody can put those same prompts and get something similar. When everything is perfect, then it becomes rubbish. You know, I remember those days on Pinterest, I would look at a beautiful picture of this. So, wow, is this person from Sudan? AI is just another change that has come upon us. You see, I'm a bit of a dinosaur in this photography business. We started with film. The time we used to, there was no LCD at the back of the camera. You shoot and then wait for them to process the film before you know whether what you shot is good enough. I don't know if you get what I mean. But before then, even the time I came in was the time 35mm film was rampant, and there were QSS joints processing film. Before me, there was a time when it was the photographer that had to process the film and print it. It was a self-contained, photography business. Nobody. So when the 35mm came, all those studios closed because everybody, those who didn't even know, the camera now came with automatic mode, auto. So people don't go put their camera on auto and don't be snapping away. Nice exposure. I don't know if you understand. They are not today photographers, and they will get this thing. So those studios closed. When digital now came, the QSS place is closed. Now that phone has come, photographers have lost their job because they take pictures at events. So each time there is new technology, some people will lose their job.
Yeah.
Anybody who is being mediocre, who has no personality, who is working with the crowd, will lose their job. Anybody whose photograph has no personality, has no dealings with the originality of his person, they will lose their job to AI. Now that AI can make these beautiful, perfect pictures, it takes wisdom from all the theories of composition, from all the color theories, straight from Michelangelo to Monet to the Impressionists to everybody. It's all put into that one photograph of one supercomputer. Everything is perfect. Then how can you present your imperfections, your originality, your story, your personality? Sometimes I'll make a shoot and I say, I must show them the behind the scenes of this shoot, and it looks too perfect. They'll think it's AI. The behind the scenes then becomes more captivating than the photograph because that is the process to which you come to that place. I used to look at big edge picture. Then I see the behind the scenes. Say, Jesus, he printed the whole background. This one is not wild. It's true. Looking at that and looking at the process gives the final work more respect. You understand? Then you start to see the mind of the artist. And that is what sets him apart. You cannot take that away. No AI can take that away. You understand? If you put a set of prompts and anybody can put those same prompts and get something similar, when everything is perfect, then it becomes rubbish. You know, I remember those days on Pinterest, I would look at a beautiful picture of this. So, wow, is this person from Sudan? The combination of Naomi Campbell and Anne Kwek. Like, Jesus, what a beauty. I would linger on that face. I'm like, where will I find this kind of girl in Nigeria? You understand? No, that face is so commonplace. That even if I see a real girl with that face, I say, I beg you, know that AI. So no. So those girls with that kind of face have lost their value. I don't need them. I need somebody with crazy freckles. Some kind of unusual thing that makes them more normal than the perfection of AI. So what will save us is to dig deep into self. And your backstory is a major part of that branding. AI cannot find itself being born in over in 1969. Then AI will not go to law school and come out to Lagos and start painting and then eventually become a photographer. No AI can do that. That story belongs to me.
So,
George. Okay.
What's up?
Nice.
Bring me back to that.
and I was talking about mental health.
Yeah.
You know,
Of people comparing themselves.
exactly the dealing with the mental health situations that are going on within the creative space, especially I would say everyone, but I think it's more prevalent now within the younger people because we're in a generation where hype has been prioritized over authenticity and substance.
You know, a lot of the times you find out that photographers, especially every other person, sorry, let's talk about photographers. No, let's not talk about photographers. Let's talk about
Creative.
business as a whole, especially with the advent of social media. You know, social media is a leveling ground, and social media also puts everything in your face and gives you a perspective or a narrative that this person is this person you're looking at is. I mean, you want to be like everybody, and you forget that you are your own unique self. You want to do what this person is doing. You know, people chase trends and forget that they are unique in their own way. Photographers, in particular, dwell, you wake up in the morning, you're looking at, oh my God, look at what this photographer posted, and they cannot even post their own picture anymore.
Yeah.
I'm telling
That's
you,
real.
because this photographer posted this, they can't post their pictures anymore. And that those pictures, for them, what they've created, which is as original as it can be, does not qualify to be, shared on their portfolio. And then you find out that over time, because of that comparison, because you're dwelling in, you're pitying yourself, you're no longer developing. Before you know it, you become broke, you become depressed, and you are gone. And it happens to even the best of us. And I like to tell people that the moment you start comparing your work to somebody else's work, you've lost the plot immediately. You know that thing that you don't like about your work, there's somebody somewhere that is looking for. That is what they are looking for. And because you are not proud of it, you're not showing it, you're not improving on it. Because you have to keep improving on whatever it is. So, what I advise some people to do when they come to me with some of this challenge, I'm like, first of all, you know that if there are some people that you follow and they are not inspiring you to bring out the best in yourself, you might as well just admit that. You don't have to be staring at it every time, every day, if it's not helping your mental health. But most importantly, you also need to learn that this person being in this space or in this industry is not here to stop you from growing. This person is elevating the industry, and if the industry is elevating, you are elevating. Because photographers, we have not, I like to say that we have not come together collectively to elevate the industry. A lot of people are competing, a lot of people are every day looking at what the next person is doing, forgetting that it is what the likes of Kelechi, Uncle Kelechi has been doing for years that is giving you the opportunity. And you are there looking at his work and you can't share your own work. I don't know if you get what I mean. If he's not putting out that quality of work, nobody will even be talking about what they're doing in the first place. So you are paying attention, you are looking at it from the totally wrong angle. That is why it's affecting you mentally. And at some point, this happens to almost every other person. At some point, But some of the ways that I was able to overcome this personally is by making sure that I was able to build my photography business in a way that my photography business can run whether I am there or not. So this is not, my income is not tied to whether I do a photo shoot or whether I am booked today or not. So I have time to think, I have time to create. I'm too busy doing so many things that I'm not bothered about what the next person is doing. I'm celebrating what the next person is doing because it's collectively elevating what's going on in the industry. And if you look at the creative industry as a whole, photographers are one of those suffering the most in terms of how we're growing collectively. If you look at what's happening in music industry, for instance, you can see that even that competition is there, but you can see that
They're growing.
the level of growth on the global scale is different.
Yeah.
But we are on that track, but we need to
be more deliberate.
intentional about it. That this is where we're going, this is what we're doing. And you find out that if everybody, it's just like if you look at those in the fashion business, if you look at some of the biggest fashion brands in the world today, if you go to a fashion mall abroad, the biggest fashion brands are on one lane, side by side. Nobody is affecting what the next person is doing. They are all elevating each other. They've separated where the luxury ones were here, where the high street ones were here. That is how this industry is supposed to operate. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Round of applause for you.